everyone, it's me again, Roland from GoA Apps. Today, this video, I'm going to do a walkthrough of the Spirals playground. For those students of the GoA Apps Middle Years program, this is one of your possible final projects. So I think most of you should have started working on this by now, but this walkthrough is going to help you in case you get stuck or there are things that you don't quite understand. If you're not part of GoA Apps and you've come across this video, great, welcome. It's nice to meet you. Hopefully you'll find this useful. And if you want to know more about GoA Apps, please go to our website, goaapps.org, and feel free to like and comment below on this video as well. All right, let's jump right into it. So here I have running the Spirals playground. And just a couple things before we get started. See, I can tap on this window here to remove this outer circle and this moving circle here. So if I just want to look at what's been drawn. If I want to zoom in, I can also zoom in, zoom out. So by pinching with two fingers to zoom in or out. So on the Mac, I can do that on the trackpad. On an iPad, you could also just do that with just two fingers on the screen. So what's happening here? We have this yellow circle that's going around inside this big red circle. And you can see inside this yellow circle, we have a purple line. And at the end of this line, on the edge of this circle, is the pen. And the pen draws the spiral. So here it's just redrawing over the same spot that it's already drawn. All right, so that's what's happening here. Okay. So here you can read this on your own. I'm not going to read it for you, but basically a roulette. We're drawing a roulette, and we're looking at a simplest kind of roulette here called a cycloid. Okay, so this explains here. So this code draw spiral.hypocycloid is what this is drawing here. We'll draw some more complex ones, but this one is a simple one called a hypocycloid. So if we're finished with this page, actually we can run our code here. Okay, so this is our code. This is just the demo running. So let's run our code, which will run this here, and let's see what happens. Yeah, so here we go. So we can see that it's starting from the start, and it's drawing that shape there. Okay, so this particular shape, it comes back to the starting point after 6 rounds. And then it's just redrawing the same thing over and over again. Okay. All right. So let's go to the next page. So here we can create a hypocycloid. So we can change a number of things here. The track radius. So what's the track radius? So here the track radius is 5. So that's the fixed circle, the green one here. And then the wheel radius is 1, which is this smaller inner circle here. So that's this code here. We can actually change it. So let's say I wanted to change this to 5.5. Let's run this and let's see what happens. All right, so you can see it's drawing. I can zoom in like before. Now because it's 5.5, it doesn't close it right away, right? So in the previous one, after 5 curves, it closed it. But here it kind of didn't close it, and we got to 10. All right, so you can see that I can change the number of curves here by changing this track radius. Okay, now how about the wheel radius? You can see that the distance from the green circle to these blue curves is this much. I can change the distance by increasing the wheel radius. Okay, so now the curves go deeper into the circle. Right, and it's not going to close too. So let's see how far it'll close. So I'm going to let this run faster. All right, so it's finally closed. How many arcs do we have, or how many points? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Is it 12? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, it's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's 11. 11 points. All right, so you can play around with these to change the different shapes. You can get some shapes with a lot of points as well. Of course, it's going to take much longer to run, but yeah. Okay, so that's a spiral. Okay, let's go with a track and a wheel radius. Okay, what are our things? So here we're seeing that we can actually change the color of the path. So here now the color of the path is yellow. Now you're wondering how come it's cut off here. That's because the our canvas just goes up to here. So that's why. If we made our track radius a bit smaller, so let's make it a 4, then it'll make the red circle smaller. Then maybe it won't get cut off. Let's try that. Yeah. Okay, so it's not getting cut off anymore because I made the red circle smaller. Okay. So the way to get the wheel to draw outside of the circle instead of inside is by having a negative wheel radius. So it's -1 here. So if I made that to a +1 and I ran that, then it'll be inside the circle. But if I made it -1, it'll be outside the circle. Again, you can play around with this. So if I wanted to make the track radius a bit smaller, and I wanted to make the wheel radius maybe something like this, then I'll have more petals. So this looks like a flower, right? I can have more petals, I think, because 1.2, it's not going to close it up right here right away. Yeah, you see it gets there, so it's going to have to make a few more rounds before it eventually closes it. So let's see how this looks. Okay, there, it's closed it. All right. So we can even have, let's do this. Wheel radius 1.1. Okay, all right, so it finally closed it. That took a while. So through the magic of video editing, I sped it up for you so you can see that. So yeah, that's quite a lot of points here. And this is a very complex flower with lots of petals here. So just a quick hint, when you're demoing this, so let's say you wanted to demo something that takes a long time to draw, what you can do is you can show your code in class like this, the values that you've used, but then rather than letting it run to completion in class, take a screenshot of this. You can take a screenshot on a Mac. You can go Command-Shift, is it 5? No, Command-Shift-4, and then I can take a screenshot, spacebar and screenshot. All right, so I just took a screenshot. On the iPad, you can, I think it's you press the power button and the up volume buttons at the same time. So power and up volume, and that'll also take a screenshot. So take a screenshot, and then, so in class you can demo this a little bit, later on for a little bit, talk about the values that you're using, and then just show the screenshot. So, because you have 5 minutes to present this, right? So you don't want to use up the whole 5 minutes and just for everyone waiting for this to complete the drawing. All right, so this is a spiral with a negative wheel radius that has the petals on the outside of the circle. And we also learned how to change the color of the path and the track. Okay, let's go to the next one. So now our goal is to create a Epitruchoid. So what is this? What is this? So notice that the cycloid lines we've been drawing so far follow the path traced by a point exactly on the edge of the moving wheel. So we're drawing exactly on the edge of the orange circle here. Okay. Now what we could do is we could actually change the spoke length. The spoke length is this purple line here. So right now, the track radius is 5, wheel radius is 3, and the spoke radius is also 3. All right. So what we could do is we could actually change the spoke length. Okay, so the wheel radius is 3. Wheel radius is 3 and the spoke length is 3. So that means that the end of the spoke is right at the circle. But if we change this to, let's say, 2.5, then the spoke will be shorter. So let's see how that looks. All right, you see now the end of the spoke is now doesn't reach the edge of the circle, and now we're drawing these kind of interesting shapes with these internal loops here. And the green line, the shape doesn't reach the edge of the blue circle because the spoke is shorter, right? Since the spoke is shorter, then it doesn't reach. Okay, cool. So we have a kind of curvy star in here with all these little loops. Now, what if we made the spoke length longer? We could also do that, right? So 2.5 is shorter than 3. We could also make it longer. Let's try 3.5. Okay, and great job experimenting. When we're ready, we'll go to the next page. We're not ready yet, so let's run this with a spoke length that's greater. So you can see now the spoke length, the spoke goes outside of the orange circle. So now our shape actually goes and outside of the blue circle. Yeah. Yeah. So it's not doing loops anymore inside the star, but we have this kind of like a curvy edge here. All right, cool. So, this is just a little bit longer. You could also make it quite a bit longer, right? So go ahead and experiment. So something like this, for example. Now you have it going way outside of the circle. More than the previous one anyway. Right. And you can also make it really small. So let's go 0.5. Let's see how that looks. It looks almost like an egg shape. So yeah, very interesting shape. It kind of looks like a flower as well, right? Like the inside of a flower. All right, so those are the things that you can play around with for a Epitruchoid. Okay, let's go to the next page. So now we're creating an Epitruchoid. So if both hypocycloids and epicycloids exist, shouldn't there be an Epitruchoid to go with the Epitruchoid from the previous page? Okay, so yes, an Epitruchoid is similar to a hypotrochoid, except the wheel rolls around on the outside of the track. So remember, the epicycloid, the wheel rolls around on the outside. So with the Epitruchoid, it'll also roll around on the outside, but the spoke is also not equal to the radius of the blue circle. Okay, so let's make this a bit bigger. So we need to change this value. So the wheel radius is 3. Remember, to make it go outside, we have to make it a negative number, right? So let's try a -1. And let's run that. There we go. Wow, that looks pretty interesting. Remember, if you want to get rid of the purple blue circle and the spoke, you can just tap on the screen, then you can see your shape here. All right, so that's a shape that's been drawn. So you can play around with that. So we have a negative wheel radius, so the wheel spins on the outside of the circle. Your spoke length, here it's 5. We can make it something smaller, like a 0.5, and let's see how that looks. So with 0.5, it doesn't touch the purple circle. So that's really some interesting shapes that we're drawing here. All right, so again, you can change different colors. So have fun trying that out. Okay, let's move on to the next one. So these are ellipses. Now, remember what an ellipse is? It's kind of like the path that the planets take around the sun, right? They're all ellipses. So you have the ingredients now to create trochoids and cycloids, both hypo and epi varieties. Final challenge is to draw an ellipse. Okay, they don't look as exciting as the spirals, but they're still pretty amazing. So the track radius is exactly twice as long as the wheel radius. So an ellipse is a special type of Epitruchoid. So the spoke length can either be greater or less than the wheel Okay, so let's try to make an ellipse. So what was the rule? The rule is that the track radius is exactly twice as long as the wheel radius. So if we made the wheel radius 2, the track radius has to be 4. And let's make the spoke length the same as the wheel radius for now. And let's see how that looks. Oh, this is an ellipse, all right? But it's kind of like a flattened ellipse, right? So if you had an ellipse and you flattened it all the way until it became a single line, that's what this is. I think that's because the spoke length is 2. If we made it so that it's not equal to the wheel radius, so let's make it a 4. Then let's run this. There we go. Oh, see here, because it says the spoke length is either greater than or less than the wheel radius. I made it initially equal, so that's why. So now this looks more like an ellipse. Now let's make it less than the wheel radius. Let's make it a 1. Let's see how that looks. Okay, awesome. This still looks like an ellipse. What if the track was outside, the wheel was outside? So let's make it a -2. Let's see how that works. So it's on the outside. Yeah, that doesn't look like an ellipse anymore. So it can't be a negative wheel radius. That looks interesting though, that shape. Okay, so let's make it 2 again. And yeah, so that's an ellipse. Let's see. So have fun. So this is the last page. So this here gives you a few more things. You can have a background color, so you can change the background color from black to something else. So to change the color, by the way, you can click on the color and then it comes up with this color selection here. So we can make the background, let's make it a dark green, for example. And then you can have the draw speed. So you can have the draw speed increase too. So if we can go 10, there we go. Ooh, that background color is a little bit too garish. Okay. Yeah, that looks a bit better. So you can also have the light theme. So it's either true or false. So this is the light theme is true, and I can go false. So you can try those. So this is another way when you demo in class, you can change the draw speed if you have something that's really, really complicated. So let's try 1.06. See how that looks. Yeah, so you can do that and it'll draw much faster. So it is going to take some time because it looks like we're going to have lots and lots of spokes. Okay, there we go. It looks like it's redrawing over itself now. But yeah, play around with that. And so that's it for this walkthrough. Hopefully you have fun. Try out different things. You can draw some really, really nice shapes and really nice curves like this too. And yeah, I'm looking forward to your demo. Remember, you have 5 minutes to demo this in class. And hopefully if you see something here that you haven't tried out yet, then try it out. So looking forward to seeing your demos. Again, if you're not part of Game of Apps and you came across this video, welcome again. It's great to have met you online. Find out more about Game of Apps. If you're in high school or middle school, maybe you can join us next season. Go to gameofapps.org to find out more, or you can like and comment below as well. All right, so have a good day and talk to you soon. Bye-bye.